Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Sonder Social. I'm Malika. I will be leading you through your weekly setup tonight. Dialing in from San Francisco. Apologies if I sound a little phlegmy. I am recovering from, I think, a flu or some sort of nasty virus. So bear with me. I might be coughing a little bit here and there, but I'm so excited to walk us through our setup this evening. Um, all right, and joining me is the fabulous Katie. She'll be manning the chat. She'll be kind of being there to answer any questions you might have. And yeah, so super excited for all of you to join. I know there's some folks that are trickling in. So make sure to grab your December journals, something to write with. And then if this is your first time joining us for Sonder Social, make sure to say, I'm new. We want to acknowledge all our newbies. Huge welcome for those of you who are joining for the very first time. And welcome back to all the folks that are returning. I do see a lot of familiar names in the chat, so welcome, welcome. And we will get started. So a couple more things. Make sure to check that blue toggle is set to everyone. Sometimes it's set to hosts and panelists, which means that only myself and Katie can see your what you're typing. So just confirm that you are typing to everyone. That's how we communicate throughout the social. And we'll get started. All right. Okay. So before we get started, a few things. Want to walk us through the community guidelines. Make sure to be kind and courteous to yourself and others. No promotions or spam. Respect everyone's privacy. No hate speech or bullying. Limit any repetitive product and accessory questions or customer care inquiries to our team, hello@siliconsonder.com. And just remember that these Sonder socials are a way for us to really connect with each other. And especially these weekly setup socials, they're a way for a lot of us to get a lot of ideas from one another, to really maximize kind of our our experience with our weekly setup. I think especially these pages, a lot of these sections get repurposed. There's a lot of creativity that goes into these sections to best serve you and make sure you have kind of your most productive, your best week at hand. So with that, we'll go ahead and talk about this month's theme, which is optimism. So I love that we're ending kind of this year with such a positive theme. I think the past few themes have been really wonderful. Like I think there was opportunity was a theme a couple months ago, and ending it with optimism is a great way to kind of segue us into the new year. I know we always say at Silk and Sonder, new month, new you. And I really love kind of this sense of optimism that we're focusing on and channeling a little bit more. Sometimes, I think, especially around this time, we may be taking inventory of kind of what went wrong this year, but also there's a lot of things that went right. So, kind of giving ourselves that acknowledgement of kind of all the things that we've accomplished this year. I know personally, I had a lot of low lows, but I had a lot of wonderful highs. And I think it's so nice to kind of reflect on kind of the happy moments that I experienced throughout this year, and just kind of giving that space some recognition. So, if you are new to a weekly setup, typically what we do is we unpack this theme, and we do a mind map. So we're going to start off, let me walk us through the agenda for this evening. We're going to focus on our optimism mind map, then we'll move into Rosebud Thorn, and then we'll kind of segue into those weekly setup pages. So for the optimism mind map, if you haven't come to a weekly setup social prior to this one, that's completely fine. We're gonna walk through each week we focus on a different domain within optimism, and we focus on different focus areas. So we'll walk through one together for this week, but if you haven't done the other 2 weeks, that's completely fine. You can kind of take a screenshot and do it later after the social, or you can just focus on this week if you do so. And we typically do this on like a blank page in your notebook or in a scratch paper. For folks who are returning and have worked on their mind maps prior, pull that up. And for this week, we're going to talk about connecting with positive people. So, who are the positive people in your life? How do they influence your mood and outlook? How can you surround yourself with more positive people? So I am so grateful. I feel like my kind of community is my friendships and my family. So this is kind of a snapshot of the people in my life that exude positivity in my life. And when I take inventory of like, why do I have these positive relationships? I think it's because our values are really similar. And I think we all really show up for one another despite what challenges we're facing, despite what life faces we might be, despite all of our differences. I think showing up for each other is like a shared value across a lot of my relationships. So even if they're far away, which a lot of these people in this picture on these pictures are far away, they're just a phone call away for me. So I feel like that closeness is still there. So that's kind of what I take in terms of inventory of like my friendships and my family. So that is kind of my personal anecdote, but I will give you all some time to reflect on your positive people, kind of how they influence your mood and outlook, and kind of what are those qualities that make you feel so positive around them. So I'll give you all some time and we'll regroup in a second. All right. Thank you all for sharing in the chat, kind of who that positive person is in your life. I think it's really cool to see how a lot of folks feel like it's their significant other or an advisor or mentor, or just, people who, may be somebody that you're not necessarily close to, but they're still a positive influence. I think it's really interesting how there's positivity in a lot of people, and we sometimes, forget to acknowledge it. So thank you all for kind of diving into that activity and reflecting and sharing with us. Okay, so for the next activity, we are going to do our rose, bud, thorn. And we're going to reflect on kind of the past week. Just as a reminder, a rose is something that's going well. A bud is a new and emerging opportunity, something you're looking forward to. And a thorn is a challenge that you've been struggling with. So I always reflect on my rosebud thorn with you guys. So I always share kind of my tidbit. So my rose is, I think I feel really like mentally a lot happier and excited for the future. I think going in from 2023 to 2024, I was less positive than I am now, which kind of aligns with our theme, coincidentally enough. So I'm feeling a lot more optimistic about going into 2025. And I just feel like really happy. My bud is I'm excited to go on a family trip with my parents. I think we're planning on going to Monterey for the holidays, which will be nice. It'll be a nice little getaway, and it will be very fun. And then my thorn is just being extremely sick. I feel like it really like knocks a lot of energy out from me. So it just doesn't feel like I am productive at all. It doesn't, I feel kind of behind on work stuff, and I just like hate being sick. So I feel like that has been my thorn that I'm actively dealing with, but hopefully not for very long. So yeah, so I'll give you all some time to reflect on your rose, your bud, and your thorn, and we'll regroup in a little bit. All right. Thank you all for sharing your rose, bud, and thorn. We'll now move on to the weekly setup pages. So We'll start off with that box at the top. And it is this week I want to feel. So think about kind of what that is for you. If it's a one word, if it's a phrase, totally up to you. But once you have that kind of intention of how you want to feel for the week, kind of write that down and share with us in the chat. Here's some kind of additional words to help you kind of pinpoint what that feeling is of how you want to feel. And once you have it written down, write it in the chat. I know I want to feel like not sick. I want to feel very energized and clear of any symptoms. So that is how I want to feel this week. Let's see, peace and love, joy, accepted, a lot of joy, balanced, festive, active, productive, but also calm, wrapped up, organized and caught up, inner peace, joy, optimistic, joyous, a lot of joy. I love this. Perfect, accomplished, great intentions for the week, everybody. So thank you all for kind of sharing in the chat. Okay, we'll now move on to the weekly major three goals. So right below kind of how we want to feel, here are some weekly major three goal examples. So it can really be kind of whatever you want it to be. Maybe there are three goals that you have that are top of mind that you want to write down. Maybe you want to align those goals to how you want to feel. Maybe you have a personal challenge for the week. Think about kind of what those goals are. And if you don't want to make them goals, maybe you want to have a routine. So you can see some examples here. The upper left has one that's like early, midday, evening. Or, it doesn't have to be kind of three goals, but this is a section where you can kind of carve out what are those prioritized goals that you really, really want to accomplish this week. So I'll give you all some time to work on your three goals, and then we'll move on to the to-do section next. All right. Thank you all for sharing some of your goals for the week. We'll now move on to the to do section, the weekly to do section. So I'll walk you through a few different ways you can set this up. So this one is the Eisenhower matrix, and basically it helps you prioritize what's important, what's urgent, and it kind of helps us categorize what we need to do, what we need decisions we need to make, what we can delegate to somebody close to us that helps us, and what can we remove, what distractions can we delete. So that is the Eisenhower matrix. It's a great way to kind of help prioritize if you're struggling to prioritize kind of what is an actual to do, what is something that you kind of need to remove to be your most productive self. So this is an option. And then here we have another option, which is the need, want, hope to do list. If you're maybe feeling like, you're much more in like a dreamer state and you kind of have a lot of things on your wish list and things that you want or wish, go ahead and kind of set this up as that. So it kind of helps you identify what you actually need and then what you kind of want or wish for. You can also kind of frame this and what are things not to do. So similar to kind of like that delete section in the Eisenhower matrix, what are things that are you're not going to do this week to kind of make sure that you feel like you are being your most productive self and your most healthy self. So that is one way to set this up. You can also set this up as a bingo board. Maybe you want to repurpose a section and make it more of a game where you can cross it off with maybe pens or stickers. And then also you can definitely categorize your to-dos. I oftentimes do it this way just because there are a lot of different areas of my life. And sometimes I just need to separate it. So anything that's personal, any like personal, like, tax season's coming up, like those types of things go in that bucket. Any work to dos that are like pressing, I put there. Any, appointments, anything like that, they also kind of come in here as well. So you can really categorize it if you feel like that works for you as well. So I'll give you all some time to set up your to-do list and share with us in the chat how you're setting it up and some of your to-dos for the week. All right. Thank you all for sharing how you set up your to-do list. We'll now walk through the habit section next. So the habit and activity tracker right below that. Sorry. um, Okay, so for this section, you can really set it up however you'd like. Maybe there is like a night routine that you want to try out this week, or maybe there's some health habits that you want to put on your tracker. It can really kind of be up to you on like what habits you want to track for the week. And you can also set up your goal, or you can choose to omit that. So completely up to you. Here are a couple examples that I really like. Here you can see the one at the top left is a kind of like a night routine, which is kind of nice. So maybe you want to kind of build up some habits before the evening, before you wind down. I really like this option in the middle where they didn't just cross it off, but they actually had kind of a like metric. So they were kind of tracking their weight fluctuations, their fruit and veggie intake, their alcohol intake, all of that. So you can really kind of set this up in that way as well. And then, and yeah, so basically it's kind of up to you how you want to set this up. Just remember that, it's totally okay if you don't fill out every bubble and cross it off perfectly. I think oftentimes, life is unpredictable and we deal with a lot of thorns as we reflected earlier the social. So it's okay if you can't complete every single habit every single day. We need to give ourselves a little grace. So make sure to keep that in mind as you fill this out throughout your week. So I'll give you all some time to set up your habit trackers, and then we'll regroup for kind of the shopping list next. Sorry, not the shopping list, the meal plan section next. All right. Thank you for kind of sharing what habits you're tracking. So that is kind of exciting. You have kind of your plan for the week. I shared in the chat all of my habits this week will be health focused. I have just been taking so much medication and vitamins and fluids and everything I can to fight the virus. So I'm going to continue to do so and make sure I have adequate sleep and rest as much as I can in between kind of the workday and all of that. So that and eat nourishing meals and all of that important stuff. So with that, we will now move on to the meal plan section. Okay, so when we move into the second page, I'm going to walk us through a lot of different ways you can set this up. The majority of folks repurpose these sections, which is totally fine. Really think of it as like a blank box. So if you do want to set this up as a meal plan, go ahead and do so. Maybe you want to repurpose it as like a food log. Maybe you want to track like your nutrients. You can do that. Here is a list of ideas of how you can repurpose a section. So feel free to take from this list. And then here are some examples as well. So you can use this place for daily affirmations. I get mine from the Silk and Sonder app. You can use this place for like kind of reflections. You can use this section for like identifying the 7 types of rest, to kind of prioritize each of those rest areas. You can also use this as almost like a chore zone chart. So maybe you need to clean the whole house, but you want to do it zone by zone. You could do that. You can also kind of use this as like a wardrobe planner. Maybe you have an upcoming vacation, you're going somewhere for kind of the holidays, and you want to kind of set up your fits for each day. So you can do that. You can also put your appointments in here. So maybe you have doctor's appointments or, whatever appointments you might have on the calendar, kind of putting it in this section is a great way to do it. Other options are like a gratitude log. There's like additional journaling questions that jog your mind, or maybe even a quote log. Maybe you heard something from a podcast, or you read something that really resonated with you. You can kind of write out that quote. There's so many different ways you can repurpose a section. So feel free to take some time and set this up how you want to set it up this week. Remember, you don't have to choose the way you set it up last week and have that carry over. Maybe you set it up differently last week and it's not going to serve you this week. It's okay to switch it up week to week. So feel free to have that flexibility if you want to change it up. So I'll give you all some time to set up your meal plans, and then we'll regroup for the Mind Body Health Plan next. All right. Thank you all for sharing kind of how you're going to use this section this week. I love kind of getting a sense of kind of how you repurpose these sections. I feel like it's so creative and fun. And I love that we kind of are tailoring these sections to best serve us. That's the whole point of these journals. So, the next section is the mind body health plan. So for this section, oftentimes I use this section to plan out my workouts for the week. Typically I do my workout classes or I like kind of log when I'm gonna go for a walk or whatever that may be, whatever that daily exercise and that daily movement will be. This week, because I'm sick, I'm going to focus on other kind of health plans that won't be kind of geared towards that physical activity, just because even like going for a walk has been quite a struggle. So I love these other examples as inspiration for even myself this week. So loving the fact that kind of you can use like this alliteration for each day. So motivation Monday, talk it out Tuesday, walking Wednesday, thoughtful Thursday, frustration free Friday, sassy Saturday, and self-care Sunday. So kind of doing an activity that aligns with kind of that theme for the day is really fun. I also like this kind of idea of separating your feel versus need, very similar to kind of the to-do section where it's like your need, want, hope. So I kind of like that option of like, okay, how do you want to feel? What do you need to get done? Those types of things to feel that way. So that's a great idea. You can also kind of reflect on the 7 types of rest and have an activity aligned with that for each day of the week since you have 7 days. But you can also kind of repurpose the section and really change it up. And maybe you want to be more reflective. I love this option of like repurposing this as almost like a self check-in where you're asking yourself a question that to get a little bit deeper, maybe in kind of that mind plan where you're kind of focusing on your mental health a little bit more, reflecting a little bit more, kind of building that into your practice. So there's really no right or wrong way to do this. It's really up to you how you want to set this up. There's so many different ways, as you can see here. I love these examples because they're very different from each other. So set up your mind body health plan the way you want to feel this week. And it'll kind of be that little bit of that treat for yourself as you go through your day to day. You can always turn to your mind body health plan as kind of that place where you kind of give yourself that self-care treat. So, I'll give you all some time to work on this and then we'll move on to the shopping list next. All right. Thank you all for sharing kind of how you use the section or what you put in your plan. We'll now move we'll now move on to, sorry, the shopping list section. Okay, so by far, this section gets repurposed the most. It's truly a blank box for a lot of folks. If you would like to use it for a shopping list, you definitely can. Here are a bunch of different ways that you can set this up. And you can put a quote in it. Maybe you have another bingo board that you want to put in here. I love this idea of like, oh, mini breaks at work, just to give yourself that space. I work from home and I'm always sitting at my desk. So kind of building in those break times and what you can do during those break times to like get you through your day. You can put you can put like your intentions for the day. I love this option of using like a calmness scale. Like, say you have that feeling that we identified at the beginning. Maybe we want to kind of measure how we feel and whether we feel that way. Say they wanted to feel calm and they're kind of measuring that metric throughout the week. Um, there's also kind of your like chores list. Shop again, it could be a grocery list, it could be a packing list, it could be anything. So think about kind of what you want to put in the section. Maybe you don't have a lot of things to buy. Maybe you have some gifts that you need to buy, your Christmas shopping list. Yes, Amy, especially with the holidays coming around. There's obviously kind of your gifts that you need to buy for all your friends and family, if that's kind of in your on top of mind. So there's definitely things that you can put in this section that could kind of best serve you. So really take free reign with this. There's no right or wrong way to set this up again. It's really a blank box for a lot of folks. So let me know how you're setting up this box, and then we'll regroup for the last section at the last section at the bottom. All right. Thank you all for sharing kind of how you set up the shopping list. We have now reached the last remaining section. So, for the I'm loving section, I want everyone to just kind of take a deep breath, maybe roll your shoulders back, get comfortable, maybe even close your eyes for just a moment. And think about kind of what you are truly loving in your life. I know we started off the social talking about kind of the theme of optimism. We're kind of in that positive mindset. We are kind of gearing towards the end of the year. And I know we also kind of did our rosebud thorn. So we've kind of reflected on a highlight or something that's going well. So think about kind of what you're truly loving. Is there something that you are loving that's just been so wonderful and so great to you, like either this past week or this past month? Kind of think about what that is for you. Maybe like holiday themed. Is it like all the spirit of the holidays? I know I am truly loving. Kind of San Francisco is so beautiful during Christmas time. Just seeing all the decorations. I just went to the ferry building today, and there was a group of people that were playing a lot of Christmas songs and music, and it was so beautiful to just kind of stop and listen to them. So it was so fun. Even though I was very, very sick and could barely breathe, it was it was very enjoyable. But thank you all for sharing in the chat. There's so many things that are going in our lives, and it's always fun to end on kind of a positive note. I know these are really a lot of pages, a lot of work was done in this past hour. So hopefully those Sunday scaries are gone. So make sure to remember to share your pages with us and Sonder Club. And as you can see, a lot of the examples were all kind of from Sonder Club. So make sure to share those. And then also, if you haven't checked out our new product, it's kind of a coaching product, a life coaching product. It's great for the holidays. Maybe there's somebody in your life that could really kind of use something like this, or maybe you can use something like this. Make sure to check it out. It's a really cool product. It's a great way to kind of have like everything tailored to you. So it's a great way to kind of get the most out of kind of your life coaching experience. So it really takes in everything and makes it very personal to you. So, with that, thank you all so, so much for this wonderful hour together. I had a wonderful time with you all. Katie's going to drop in some links for you to check out. Um, Thank you all for the well wishes on the recovery. Thank you so much. Thank you for bearing with me and all my coughing and my congested voice, but I really appreciate your patience and thank you all. Yes, and Katie also dropped in the YouTube link if you're interested in checking out any past socials from this month or prior. It's all housed there. So thank you all so, so much for spending this hour with me. Have a great rest of your week. Have a healthy week, and I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening. A beautiful sight, we're happy tonight. Walking in a winter wonderland. Gone away is the bluebird. Here to stay is a new bird. Sing a love song while we stroll along. Walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman. We'll pretend that here's Parson Brown. He'll say I am married, we'll say no man. But you can do the job when you're in town. Later on conspire as we dream by the fire to face unafraid plans that we made, walking in a winter wonderland.